Liz, do we have any announcements or presentation?
No announcements.
On the consent agenda, we're going to need to skip the meeting minutes. So I think Steve was not here at that meeting, so it's just Scott and I. Do anticipate the mayor being here in just a minute. And so as we get to the resolutions, I'm going to move some things around a little bit. So appreciate your patience on that. But with that, we're on item 4B, which is still the consent agenda, request to approve the accounts payable register. Is there a motion? Motion. I will second. Motion by Steve, second by Jeff. All in favor, please say aye. 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 Motion carries. All right, moving on to the resolutions. First item up is request to approve the opioid settlement agreement. Take that.
Good morning, board. Lindsay Bennett, Corporation Counsel. This is just a request to approve an opioid settlement agreement. It's actually right now just a participation form. It is part of the Purdue Pharma bankruptcy. They've come to a settlement for state and local governments. So they're asking anybody who wants to participate in that settlement to sign a participation form. And then later on, we'll have the actual settlement agreements. But kind of like the other settlements, it's like, here's the lump sum, but we don't really know what our allocation is quite yet until the state gets it and starts allocating that.
Did they identify any criteria yet for the allocation?
Nope, as long as you just participate.
Motion. Motion by Jeff, motion by Steve, I will second. All in favor, please say aye. 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 Motion carries. Thanks. All right, next up, request to approve Indiana Department of Health, Public Health Emergency Preparedness Agreement. Laura.
Good morning, Laura Groff, Deputy Director of Finance and Operations for the Health Department. Before you today is a grant agreement with the Indiana Department of Health for Public Health Emergency Preparedness. This is a federal grant that's passed down to the state. This agreement is to be able to respond for local preparedness and emergency public health and healthcare emergencies. It's a reimbursable grant. The agreement is for $47,670. The grant terms are from July 1st, 2025 through June 30th, 2026. And this funds a part-time personnel position in our department.
Motion. Motion by Steve, I will second. All in favor, please say aye. 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 Motion carries. Thanks, Laura. Thanks, Laura. Are you here to speak on the parking? Is anyone here to speak on the parking? Okay. All right, then we're going to keep it. That's when I was going to move to the end, but so we're going to request to approve amendment to the parking schedule. Sorry, I was going to keep you.
Hey, I'll take it. We got a little bit going on. We got a little bit going on out there. Good morning, Mike Taylor, Assistant Chief Fishers Police, presenting amendment or adjustment to resolution in regards to the permitted parking in neighborhoods. All the streets remain the same. We miss having our actual days times listed, which is important for us to be able to do enforcement. So request the addition of Thursday to Monday from the hours at 8 p.m. to 2 a.m. For clarification, there are signs posted. The intent is to 2 a.m. Monday morning, not 8 p.m. Monday. So there's some confusion that's come in a little bit on that, just to clarify. And then on Fridays from 1 p.m. to 4 p.m. In the neighborhoods that are north of 1. So the Thursday through Sunday evening or Monday wee hours of the morning is south of 116th where it applies, and then the other days times are to the north. Happy to answer any questions. Excuse me, questions if needed.
Any questions? All right, I'll make a motion. Is there a second? Motion by Jeff, second by Steve. All in favor, please say aye. Aye. Thanks, Mike. Next up, request to approve special purchase turnout gear. Ann.
Morning, Ann Smith, Fire Department. The Fire Department is requesting to purchase 29 sets of turnout gear as part of our annual replacement schedule. We replace 1/5 of the department's gear every year. Hoosier Fire is a sole vendor for our equipment, and we are giving a very significant discount. We are doing this a little bit ahead of schedule. Normally, I think we do it in October, November, but we are trying to get ahead of an October 1st price increase. So we want to, if approved, get this purchase order to Hoosier to lock our pricing in.
So your area. So motion. All right. I will second. Motion by Steve, second by Jeff. All in favor, please say aye. Aye. Thanks, Dan. Don't forget, request to approve 2025 fire and EMS services contract for Delaware and Fall Creek.
Yes, this is, the 2025 fire and, EMS and Fire Protection Services contract with both Delaware and Fall Creek Townships. It's an annual agreement where we will respond to emergency calls within Delaware and Fall Creek Townships and will be compensated by the townships, for those services.
Yeah, so there's some annexation in the Fall Creek area. Does that change this at all? Or there's Fall Creek still collect the taxes on that?
It won't change it for this contract, but for next year probably will.
Okay. Thanks. I'll make a motion. Is there a second? Second. Second motion by Jeff, second by Steve. All in favor, please say aye. Aye. Good. Thanks, man. Request to approve First Amendment to Professional Services Agreement for on-call with Butler Fairman and Steeper. Tim?
I'm Mickey City Fisher's Engineering Department. Before you is the amendment to the professional services that we have with BFS. They assist the engineering department in reviewing a lot of sanitary permits that we have. This is the first amendment to that agreement. This is to increase their on-call by 25 grand as they are getting close to their original amount of 100,000.
Okay. And I confused you because I skipped an agenda.
I know. I was like, what's
Yep,
happening?
sorry. I just realized that.
We're here.
So we're gonna go back to this. We'll
Finish
finish
this
this
one.
one, then we're gonna go back. Sorry, that's.
Yep.
Got to hit on my check marks. All right, any questions on, which is the request to approve First Amendment to Professional Services Agreement with Butler Fairman and Steeper? Any questions? All right, I'll make a motion. Is there a second? Second. Motion by Jeff, second by Steve. All in favor, please say aye. Aye. Motion carries. All right, moving backwards on the agenda. Sorry. Request to approve right of entry and indemnification agreement with Kid City USA.
It's at Mackey City Fisher's Engineering Department. This is a right-of-way entry for Kid City USA. This is located on St. Anne Road, just north of the school. What's the school called?
Hamilton. That one's middle school?
Yeah, it's right in front of the New Meyer, just north of the New Meyer over there, north of
That'd be the intermediate.
Southeastern.
Yeah.
Yeah, so this is just a right of entry for the new development to build a 52 feet of storm pipe to tie into the Cynthia Ann Park pond. This is just a right of entry, and then after the construction, the city of Fishers and the park property will own and maintain that pipe.
Any questions? All right, I'll make a motion. Is there a second? Second. Motion by Jeff, second by Steve. All in favor, please say aye. 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 Motion carried. Thank you, Ken. Request to approve sewer variance for the crossing retail building.
Good morning, Jeremy Schmidt, Department of Engineering, and actually items 12 and 13 are the same, they're just two separate buildings, so we kept them separate. These are new developments going in at the events, next to the event center. And to the existing conditions of elevations and things, they are unable to meet our normal standard of from keeping the finished floor elevation a foot above the nearest sanitary casting. So they're requesting a variance for each of the buildings.
Any questions, Steve?
None.
All right, so we'll take these one at a time. This is the first item, which is item H on the agenda. Is there a motion? Motion. I will second. Motion by Steve, second by Jeff. All in favor, please say aye. 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 Motion carries. Now we're moving on to item I, which is for building number 2. Is there a motion? Motion. I will second. Motion by Steve, second by Jeff. All in favor, please say aye. 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 Motion carries. Great. Thank you, Chairman. Thank you. Quick to award bid and approved professional service agreement with Citywide Facility Solutions. Fine.
Good morning, Michael Bloom, Director, Fishers Community Center. Before you is a resolution to award and approve the overnight cleaning contract for the community center with Citywide Cleaning Solutions. The city intends to enter into a professional services agreement with Central Indiana Maintenance, Inc., DBA Citywide Facility Solutions, to provide overnight janitorial services at the Fishers Community Center through December 31st, 2026. Facility cleaning services will present the Fishers Community Center as a clean, sanitary, inviting, and safe place to visit, patronize, and work. The monthly cost is $14,292.38 for overnight facility cleaning for 7 days a week.
Lindsay, in the background, it says Construct Nova LLC doing business in Citywide, which is just different than what it is.
Yeah, sometimes these companies have like a corporation name and they do business as a different name, and so we just put in their actual legal name.
Okay. Just wanted to know.
Citywide.
All right, any questions? All right, I'll make a motion. Is there a second?
Second.
Motion by Jeff, second by Steve. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion carries. All right, that completes our regular items. On the unfinished new business, we have Spyglass traffic update. Tim?
Okay, good morning. That's Mackey City of Fishers Engineering Department. Before you is the results for the Spyglass Falls, Spyglass Hills traffic study. This traffic study was conducted between the roads of Cumberland Road to the west and Hoosier Road to the east. Just a brief agenda for today. This is to present the results that the City of Fishers Engineering Department was tasked by the board 6 months ago as a result of the update to this report that was done a couple of years back. So just going over the history of this study, we from input from the public, we identified that Spyglass Falls intersection, Klutz Farm Boulevard, has a significant amount of accidents at that intersection. So we decided to look more in depth with our traffic consultant about solving this issue. And we had identified back 6 months ago that we had about 6 or 7 options, and the best recommendations from the engineering department and along with our traffic consultant was to make a one-way connection at Laurel Falls Lane in Spyglass Falls neighborhood, ties into Knightsbridge Boulevard, one-way exit lane, if you will, with a stop controlled at Knightsbridge Lane. The proposed construction cost was approximately $345K, and that was the engineering and the traffic consultant's appropriate recommendation for that intersection. The board back then had collected a bunch of comments and feedback from both neighborhoods and decided to task the engineering department to look more in depth at that corridor and the opportunity or the possibility of constructing a signal light at any of the intersections along 116th Street in order to facilitate or have a better solution for that intersection. So the study baseline variables that we used in this study is that we used a 0.5% growth rate for 10 years, and this assumes development along the stretch of 116th Street, and it matches the Fishers zoning. So we projected the traffic for 10 years with 0.5% growth rate. Some other baselines that we used also for this study is we prioritized 116th Street for the AM and PM rush hours. This matched pretty much the protocol that we use on the AM and PM rush hours all throughout 116th Street. And we input a maximum green time for the side streets between 7 and 10 seconds. We noticed also that installing a signal at any point between Cumberland and Hoosier Road will not have any noticeable impacts on Cumberland and Hoosier Road signals. it will just experience the growth per the growth rate that we used in this study. We also noticed that Legends and Belle Plaine Boulevards, which is just east of Spyglass Ridge Road, will show minimal to no impact by any of the 5 scenarios that we looked at. So they are not necessarily shown in this presentation, but they are in the complete report. The Spyglass Ridge Drive is a little bit different than any of the other intersections just because of its geometry. And I'll, in the next slide, I'll show what exactly that difference is. So as you can see here, north is Archer Lane for the Archer Estates, and the south is Spyglass Ridge for Spyglass Hills entrance. And the left turn, eastbound left turn into Archer Lane shows this type of movement, and the westbound left turn lane into Spyglass Ridge shows this type of movement. So there is an obvious intersection and conflict between those two movements. So for this signal, we had to utilize a lead protected green for one of those movements. So that means westbound and eastbound left turn lanes cannot have a protected left green light at the same time. They have to lead and lag. So for example, if I'm going eastbound and I have a green light and a green arrow, all of westbound has to be at a red light. So that will show you a little bit more in the results that it has a little bit more Q at this intersection than most of the other ones. Another parameters that the engineering department looked at is the distance between Sand Creek Boulevard and both sides, Spyglass Ridge and Klutz Farm Boulevard. The reason why we need to put 570 feet and 430 feet in the back of our minds is because we wanted to make sure that any of the Q lengths that resulted from any signal at any of those 3 intersections do not block the adjacent intersection, whether it's on the east or the west. So we'll just keep it in the back of our minds, 430 and 570 for now. Now we look at the 5 scenarios that the City of Fishers traffic consultant and the engineering department looked at. First is the no build, which that served as our baseline comparison with all of these 5 scenarios. So you will see in most of the comparisons that we have after this slide is between scenario 1 and scenario 2, 3, 4, and 5. So we use the no build as the baseline. We put a signal at Klutz Farm Boulevard. We also studied signal at Sand Creek Boulevard and also at Spyglass Ridge Drive. The engineering department asked the traffic consultant to put another scenario in there just to see what the impacts are, which is the signal at Spyglass Ridge Drive and eliminating the left owl from Spyglass Falls. So people from that neighborhood that wants to turn left will have to turn right on 116th and then make a U-turn at Spyglass Ridge. Looking at obviously scenario 1 is the baseline, no build, and driver can still make all of the movements that they do currently. Then scenario number 2 is the signal at Klutz Farm Boulevard. So the tables that we have here at the bottom is basically the comparison that we had mentioned between scenario number 1, which is a no build, and scenario number 2, which is the signal at Klutz Farm Boulevard. So let's take Klutz Farm table for an example, just to kind of describe and explain what those numbers are. So if we look at the northbound approach, currently at the current state, there's about 90 foot of queue length. And for scenario number 2, if we put a light there and it's at a red light, it will show a 90 foot of queue length as well before it turns green. Eastbound approach, currently there is no queue length because there is no signal at the moment there. But once we put a signal and it goes into red to allow for the northbound approach to move, it will show about 140 foot queue length on the eastbound and 180 feet on the westbound approach. So as we mentioned before, there's about 570 feet between Klutz Farm and Sand Creek Boulevard. So that 180 foot does not block any of the Sand Creek entrance and exit approaches. Same thing for Sand Creek Boulevard. If we put a signal at Klutz Farm, there is going to be no impact to Sand Creek Boulevard. It'll see and experience the same amount of queue length that it has currently. For Spyglass Ridge Drive, as you can see here, there is It's pretty much the same with just two exceptions. It just increases 10 feet on the northbound and the southbound approach for AM and PM peak hours. And that 10 feet, you can probably visualize it as an increase in one car. So it's kind of little to minimal impact to Spyglass Ridge intersection. And as you can see here, the intersection level of service is AM peak hours, A, PM is B. The eastbound approach on 116th Street, AM is A, PM is peak is B, and westbound both A's. Pretty much these levels of services are the maximum that we shoot for, and having those level of services pretty much is acceptable for the city of Fishers. It's pretty high. Same case with scenario number 3. As you can see, we started when we put the signal at the Sand Creek Boulevard intersection, and we see that Klutz Farm Boulevard experienced a little bit of decrease on the PM peak from the no build option. We could look at Sand Creek Boulevard. The only thing that changed really is the eastbound and the westbound approach queue lengths, and that's when you have the southbound green light and 116th Street as a red light. 90 feet eastbound and 210 foot westbound approach. From the earlier slide, we know that the distance between Sand Creek and Spyglass Ridge is around 430 feet, so that 210 feet is okay and it will not block Sand Creek Boulevard intersection. And as you can see, the Spyglass Ridge really does not show a lot of impact to it, and similar level of services along all 3 quadrants, which are all acceptable to the City of Fishers Engineering Department. Area number 4 is putting a signal at Spyglass Ridge Drive. We can know that it's not going to have a lot of impact on Sand Creek, and there is going to be a decrease on Klutz Farm Boulevard. We can attribute some of those decreases in AM and PM peak hours by the gaps that signal is going to notice. If you have a red light on that intersection, eastbound and westbound, you will see some gaps for the westbound traffic, so that allows a little bit more traffic to turn left easily than it does currently. At Spyglass Ridge Drive, we see that the northbound and southbound approaches do not see any significant changes. The eastbound and the westbound approaches, as you can see, has a maximum eastbound approach queue length of about 240 feet. And as we remember, it's about 430 feet between Spyglass and Sand Creek, so it does not block that intersection. And we see here, there's just a little bit of an improvement in a better level of service at this intersection than all of the other ones, as all of the level of services at this intersection is a level of service A. And that's pretty much the best level of service that we can shoot for. Similarly, and this is kind of a bonus scenario, which is signal Spyglass and no left turn at Klutz Farm. Everything's pretty much the same, but we see a little bit of more queue length here at the westbound approach at Spyglass Ridge Drive, and that's because of that lead lag signal that we mentioned before, and also the increase of traffic from Klutz Farm taking a right and then making that left turn lane at that intersection. Level of service, same as before, all level of service A's, which is obviously acceptable by the City of Fishers Engineering Department. The pros and cons, pretty much, they have all same pros and same cons. They provide relief to where that signal is constructed, whether it's at Klutz, Sand Creek, or Spyglass Ridge. These signals provide gaps. If we put any of those signals at any of those intersections, they will have some gaps that allow some of these intersections to take a left out compared to what it is now. The only kind of the cons that we see is some of them do only serve one neighborhood unless we do the connection between Spyglass Falls and Hills, so that if the signal is constructed at one of those 2 intersections, it can serve both of those neighborhoods. Sorry. So the results of
So Maggie, I'm sorry, when you say it only serves one neighborhood, if there's a stoplight there, wouldn't it create breaks for the other neighborhood as well?
Yes, that's the pros, the cons, like if you will, the cons is it only serves that local intersection, that local neighborhood. If we don't build that connection.
But if you don't build the connection, so if there's a stoplight and I'm further down
Right.
and the light's red, doesn't that create a break?
Yes, that was one of the pros too.
Okay.
It does create a break. It's just,
So if I don't get a light directly at my intersection, but it does improve my ability to get out of my neighborhood.
it does create a benefit to all of the other ones, that it does create that gap that allows you for a safe left turn lane, and you don't have to leapfrog like two different bounds of traffic. You see the gap on the westbound or the eastbound, and you can make that left turn.
Gotcha.
But then real quick, the opposing left turn challenge that you
Yeah.
identified. Yeah, does that have, that's taken care of, I'm assuming, with the stoplight?
Yeah.
But if we don't put a stoplight there, we still have to address it.
If we don't put a stoplight there, they have that left turn lane there that they could refuge in. But that's the current state that it is now. We don't see a lot of issues currently. But that is one of the hindrance, if we put a signal there, that we have to lead lag those left turn lanes. So that would have to be accommodated in the signal if we put it.
And how, oh, it would be in the signal.
Yeah, it would be in a signal where you have one bound that has all green and a green left turn, and all the other ones would be red.
And then, sorry, go ahead, Jen.
We're gonna create more lag on 116th Street.
Yeah, it does create a little bit more of a queue on 116th Street, just for that different baseline.
That's the one question I was gonna have. With this light, does it diminish performance of 116th Street in any significant?
It does increase it a little bit, it increases the queue lights of eastbound and westbound a little bit.
Look, how do we have a system in place in the AM and PM for managing 116th Street traffic?
Yes, we do.
And this
Currently,
light-
we do.
This
Yeah.
light would be tied into that?
Yeah, they would all be tied into that. That one would have to communicate to all of the other ones that preceded and go after.
So we would have the ability to have a policy that says even if there's a car trying to make a left at the light,
Mhm.
we could queue them for quite a while in certain times to make sure we're
Right.
efficiently moving traffic.
Right, usually PM rush hour, we see a lot of the eastbound, so we could either increase the green light to turn left, but then that would have to turn red if we want the westbound to turn left into, Spyglass Ridge. So they can't both be like permissive greens for them to take both lefts.
So would it be fair to say that the most high-risk intersection is Spyglass?
The most high-risk intersection that we have currently is Klutz Farm.
Okay.
Yeah, that's based on the accident rate that we have, and that's what we identified earlier on in that study. We don't see an issue here as far as the accidents go.
Stevie, anything else?
Yep, so what I'm trying to figure out in my mind is, and maybe it's because of my background, is it safer to put the signal at Klotz Farm or is it safer to put the signal at Spyglass?
They're both safe.
They're both safe.
Yeah, you could, based on the results that we saw.
Okay, even
that-
with the left turn issue.
Yeah, if you put it at Spyglass Ridge, Sand Creek, or Klutz Farm, that is kind of the conclusion at the end of this presentation that we kind of,
We need to come back.
yeah.
And I think my intent today was not to approve
No,
to say we're gonna do this, but rather to present
Yeah.
the board, let us chew on it, and then if we have questions or if the public has questions, they can reach out, share their thoughts, and then we can come back at a later date.
Right.
Becky, rough cost associated with putting an intersection in here?
So the rough cost based on the data that we used from the last study, if we look here, if we put a signal at Klutz Farm, that would range about $520,000, depending on what the market sees right now and what inflation works with and all of the tariffs. I don't know if there's anything that impacts that, but
A&F said they were running a special this month. I don't know.
they are right, Steve.
We always run specials.
Yeah, Labor Day logo.
The cost changes based on the intersection because of the
It depends. If we do it at a T intersection, it differs than if we do it at a four-way intersection. It's just extra equipment and extra bolts. Let's see here. So the results, so we have ANF and their recommendation and the results that they've seen is that any signal at Clucks Farm Boulevard or at Spyglass Ridge, they both would work. And they also would recommend a two-way connection between Spyglass Falls and Spyglass Hills. We do understand that based on the last feedback that we got from the board and from the public, that the intersection, that the connection between the two neighborhoods is unfavorable. So us in the engineering department, we looked at all of the results and we looked at even if we do not connect both of those neighborhoods together, any signal at any of those intersections would work fine. The level of services are fine. Obviously.
Yeah, look, I mean, I think it's important that the engineering team and consultant team puts the facts out on the street and
Right.
factually, it would work more optimally for everyone if there's a connection between the two neighborhoods.
Right.
Now, this board has to weigh whether that's worth it or not, because I know in the last 5 years, we've had lots of discussions about putting that connection in, and there's lots of people who do not want that connection on frankly both sides.
Yeah.
As far as I could tell, per the last meeting, so.
There's nothing that says if we put a stoplight in now that we couldn't go back if we decided that traffic volumes exceeded whatever we anticipated growth wise, that we could add that connector later if it wasn't.
Right.
But with either Class Farm or Spyglass being equally as safe, and I wasn't paying attention, is there a cost difference?
There would be a little bit of a cost difference just because Spyglass Ridge would have an extra traffic heads and extra pole, or extra signal pole.
Is it significant in your mind or no?
I would say $100,000 extra.
That's a special.
Well, that's the BOGO. We pay BOGO.
All right. Well, this is good information. Is there any other questions, Jeff or Steve?
All right.
I appreciate this. And then we'll work to kind of make sure the neighborhoods affected are aware of all this. I think we sent something out. Did you send something out, yesterday, was it?
Yes.
Okay, so they're at least aware of it. So. Thank you, Maggie.
Yep. Thank you.
All right. That's it.
Good job, ANF.
All right. Anything else on the?
Yep, that's it.
You know, I'm glad I looked at that. I just can't call out.
For the minutes.
Oh, the minutes. Yeah, go back to that.
We can go back.
Yeah.
It was just you and I.
Yep, so I'll make a motion to approve item A. Is there a second? Second by Jeff. All in favor, please say aye. Aye, motion carries. Is there a motion to adjourn?
Motion.
A motion by